Hello, everyone. Welcome to Big League Dreaming, the podcast, a show about baseball, dreams, and family. I'm John Gonzalez, the dad, and if you're new to the podcast, it's a dad and his three sons talking about the game they love. Today on the podcast, we're going to be talking about the art of catching, or mainly some of our favorite catchers of all time, and also just talk about probably the position that gets overlooked quite a bit, but maybe doesn't get all the credit it deserves. We'll talk about all this topic and more. Joining us on the podcast, let's go all the way to North Carolina. It is Zak Gonzalez. He's the oldest of the three boys. How you doing, Zak?
I'm doing great. Excited for the College World Series to kick off the championship best of three series this weekend. Coastal Carolina against LSU. So really looking forward to that.
Awesome. Yeah, I know we talked about that a couple weeks ago. That it would be kind of fun to have Coastal and maybe even who was the other team I was rooting for?
Murray
Murray
State.
State.
Right, yeah, Murray State, yeah. And now I said, oh, it'd be good to have them both in. Well, we got half of it right. Also joining us is son number two, the middle one, Ty Gonzalez. Ty, how you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Yeah, excited to talk about a position I played, catcher, for a long time. So this will be a different one and a fun one.
Well, so both of you guys kind of inspire this topic because Zach, we all know that you love college baseball, especially with Coastal Carolina, being in the World Series finale against LSU. I was thinking about you and their catcher that they have. That I've been just seeing him play a lot, right? Because Coastal Carolina's been on TV quite a bit, and I'm like, this what's his name? Caden, right? Caden Bodine.
Caden Bodine. Yep.
Yeah, and watching him catch, going like, wow, this guy can hit. This guy can play defensively. And then I saw his name get, mentioned a few times in some of the blogs I read that, he'll go in the first round of the draft. I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of cool to see a catcher in the spotlight. And then Ty, you inspire this topic too because, you were a catcher, gosh, I don't know, almost since day one you were the catcher, right? We got photos
Yeah,
of you in your catching gear, like Christmas photos when you were like 3 years old, right? I mean, catching has
yeah,
always been your thing, right?
yeah. I always loved catching. I love that I could just be in every pitch. Like especially growing up when you're younger, you don't get a lot of action in the outfield early on. So being catcher, you're in every single play, every single pitch. That's what I loved about it the most.
Well, yeah, so I thought of both of you guys, and then it didn't occur to me till much later after we decided on the topic that I had one year where that's all I did. I was the catcher on my little league baseball team. And I think I was so. I promise, folks, I'm not gonna. This is not nostalgia. Just going back to my playing days here. We're gonna get to the topic at hand. Who are some of our favorite major league catchers, of all time, and also maybe right now, and a little bit more about the College World Series. But when I was 8 years old, I played t-ball, right, like most kids. And then my next year up, at 9 year old, they kind of put me wherever they needed me, and then all of a sudden like in when they're evaluating the positions you're going to play, I don't know whether it's because I was stocky or whatever, but they put me back then it was called husky. They put me in at catcher, and I caught that whole season. I caught every game. I also struck out every game too. But anyway, I caught the whole time. I learned to appreciate and love that position quite a bit. My second year, when you're older, like 10 years old, right? We had a great coach who really fostered my love for baseball. And I learned a lot from this guy. In fact, a lot of things I taught you guys, I learned from this guy. And he came out from Detroit, but his son was a catcher. So when I was 10, his son was the number one catcher, and that's when I started to pitch, play infield, play outfield, play first base. Pitching and first base were the positions I ended up landing at 10 years old, and that's kind of stuck with me. But I think what happened if the coach would have come in, the new coach would have come in, and I was the catcher, right? I probably would have been a catcher probably the rest of my life. So it's interesting how these things play out. So there's a deep love for catching and a respect for it, not only because Ty, you played it, and I guess I realized I played it at a young age too. Zach, being left-handed, you weren't a catcher.
Nope. Not an option, Smalls.
Although you do like to play third base these days in softball, don't you?
Oh, I'm the shortstop.
Or shortstop, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yeah,
shortstop.
100%. It's the best. I love it because I was never allowed to do it growing up. And I just love defense. Like when we would go out and take ground balls and you would hit us ground balls, Dad, like I was always wanting to take grounders rather than hit all of the time. I was more of a defensive, pick guys off and that kind of mindset, small ball kind of feel to my game. So yeah, now getting to live out some of those shortstop days, playing slow pitch as an old man like I am now, I'm loving it.
Ty, I know you mentioned catching. You love being part of every pitch, right? What else did you love about catching?
I feel like you're kind of, besides the pitcher, you're kind of in charge of the whole game. You're kind of like the quarterback in a way. Back behind the plate, back when I played, I know they've changed a lot of things now on how you call games and stuff, but most of my playing games, I got to call the games, which I thought was a lot of fun, especially when I got to play in college. I just got to do a lot of fun things back there. Like me and the pitchers came up with a sign where I wanted them to shake me off. I wanted them to say no. So I had a sign where I would put down a few times, and it would just be the pitcher shaking me off a few times just to mess with the batter, and then I would throw down the pitch I wanted him to throw. So just doing a lot of fun things like that. It was like a way to almost pitch every day, if that makes sense, by calling the games without pitching and ruining your arm.
Did you ever pull a Smalls? Did you or not a Smalls? I'm not. I'm not Smalls. What's his name in Sandlot? The catcher, Ham, right?
Oh yeah, all the time. You're just back there talking crap to everyone. That's all you do is just chat back there and kind of kind of talk up the umpire a little bit so you can get some calls and be extra nice to him and kind of just agree with him, kind of butter him up a little bit. Yeah, I loved that. Some umpires were fun to catch for, others not so much. Like I remember, I don't remember who it was, but we had one guy who umped a ton of our summer games, and it was like, all right, if he's back there, it's gonna be fun going to go catch because the umps will talk with you too. Like that's another fun thing about it is the umps and the catchers kind of have like this unwritten code, like where they're gonna protect each other. So if the umpire gets hit with a foul ball, the catcher kind of goes out. It's just an unwritten rule to go talk to the pitcher real quick and kind of just let him catch his breath. And other way around, if the catcher takes a rough one blocking wise or off the arm, the ump will kind of go wipe off the plate and stuff like that. So I like that aspect of it too. But like I said, there's always some umpires you're not really excited to go see when you go back there too.
Does that carry on into the professional world as well? Like you worked with the Charlotte Knights, AAA affiliate of the White Sox there in Charlotte. Do you see that relationship with the catchers either at the minor league level or the major league level?
The catchers and the umpires.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you absolutely see it. And it's definitely amplified in professional baseball because the first and last names of each umpire are posted in the dugout. And some teams will even take a little screenshot, like a headshot of each umpire and post it in their dugout so the players know the umpires' names and they can address them, as Larry or whatever their name is, instead of just saying sir. Uh, and if you're in professional baseball, you definitely don't call anybody blue. That's very much a youth term or maybe even a high school term, uh,
Right.
because they're people, and you're gonna approach them and tell Larry he missed that call or whatever it is. But the umpires in professional baseball, they're grinding just like the players. They're away from their families for whatever it is, 6-7 months straight, just like the players. They're in town in Charlotte from Tuesday to Sunday, and then they drive to the next stadium, and they have their off day Monday, and they're back at it for a whole nother a whole nother week, Tuesday to Sunday. So they're grinding just like these players. So it's kind of like a mutual thing of some respect there.
Well, let's
Yeah,
get to the topic at hand. Some of
that's
our
a good
favorite major
point.
league catchers.
I was just gonna say that's a good point, Zach. Yeah, before we move on to the catchers, the umpires, they are grinding out there every day and going through recovery and stuff too. Like probably might have been 8 years ago, me and my now wife Katie were staying in a hotel in Lansing. We went to a Lugnuts game, and in the hallway I was going to get us like a drink or something, and I ran into the umpire from the Lugnuts game, and he was getting two giant bags of ice. And I was like, "Were you umping the game?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm icing my knees, man. I'm sore." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, good job tonight." So yeah, they're grinding.
Speaking of being sore and icing your knees, I mean, if you're a catcher, you know what that's like. It's not for someone that's not ready to um, deal with pain because you're back there and you're getting those foul balls and it is a tough position. I remember our friend Jay Starkey and a lot of the people that we've been around baseball our life, they call it the tools of ignorance, right? Putting on all that equipment and everything that you got to do. All right, let's. I love the text we were exchanging earlier or yesterday, and when we talked this topic, the best catcher, best major league catcher of all time, and Zach says, "Great." We know Dad's going to say Johnny Bench, who arguably is one of the best catchers of all time. We know Ty's going to say Mike Piazza, who had an incredible career, with the New York Mets. And Zach's like, who am I going to pick, right? So let's save Zach for last here, and let's go right to Ty and get to Mike Piazza because, I mean, I, for me, I was not sure about this Mike Piazza guy. I thought, he's Tommy Lasorda's grandson or godson or whatever. He got picked as a favor. Happens in baseball all the time. But I mean, the guy did put in the work, and he became, a major all-star, a major player for the Mets.
Yeah, I think that's just like one of the biggest reasons why he's one of my favorites is his story is so cool. Like, I mean, everyone thought that, Dad. Like 60, I looked it up, 63rd round. I didn't even know there were 63 rounds in the MLB draft. They drafted him just as a, like you said, as a favor. Tommy Lasorda's godson, and it's like you don't expect anything out of that. It's just kind of like, yep, we'll just do it just for fun type of thing, and it ends up being one of the best hitting catcher of all time. Is just such a cool story. And in the minor leagues, he played first base and didn't transition to catcher until the minors. But yeah, I just loved watching him play growing up, being a Mets fan, being a Mike Piazza fan. It seemed like he just always had really clutch hits too, because obviously like every MLB player, they have their ups and downs, but it seemed like when the game was on the line, he's who you wanted up. He always hit the big home runs, so he was just fun, really fun to watch play.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't come to a lot of lists when I was doing some research on like the best catchers of all time, right? He doesn't pop up on a lot of those, top 5, top 10 lists, but you got to love his story and love the fact that he persevered and made a huge impact on his team. And he was, from what I can tell, a really good teammate too, right? And as a catcher, you want to be a good teammate, right, Ty?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think he has the record for most home runs as a catcher. But yeah, you got to be a good teammate. You got to be a good clubhouse guy, and that's exactly what he was. And it was cool too. A fun fact, doesn't really have anything to do with catching or baseball, but he actually played drums in a band, and I have a baseball card of him playing drums in the locker room. So that's always cool. He's a big heavy metal guy.
I love it. I love it. No wonder you were a Mike Piazza fan.
Yep.
Any thoughts on Piazza, Zach, before we get to Johnny Bench?
Piazza being a heavy metal guy, why does that not surprise me at all? I feel like that's just, I can totally believe that. I didn't know that, but I can totally believe that. I can see that for sure.
I think he actually played like for a big band one time, like when they're on tour. I want to say it was like Anthrax or something. He did like a guest walkout thing and play drums for a song. We'll have to look that up though.
That that's pretty cool. Well, as we get to Johnny Bench, we should mention also that you guys for one of my Christmas presents one year got me one of those cameo videos from Johnny Bench saying "Merry Christmas" and or thanks for being a fan. But for me, Johnny Bench, is part of my childhood, right? Like you, Ty. I mean, he and I was a catcher, right? As you found out, I was a catcher for one season. Um, that one season. I was a huge fan, a Cincinnati Reds fan. I mean, the Big Red Machine during the mid '70s. I mean, that was the team everyone watched, right? Even though I was a Tiger fan, and I still remain a Tigers fan to this day, there was something about that team that if you were around in the mid '70s, that team just captured your attention. They were so good, and Johnny Bench was at the heart of it because at the time, catchers were defensive players. They weren't really known for their offense. And here this kid comes along. I looked it up. He was drafted in 1965 and made his major league debut in 1967. I mean, he was right out of high school. He got drafted, and he didn't only played for 2 years in the minors. And then I don't know if this. I need to research this, but one of the things I looked up yesterday was. He hit a grand slam off of Jim Palmer in 1967, and Jim Palmer never gave up a grand slam again after that in his career, right? I don't know if that's true or not, but I love it, right? The other story about him, too, is that when he became the full-time catcher for the Reds, he also gained respect from some of the veteran players, and that doesn't happen a lot, right? These young players come in and they're like going, okay, you need to be around and learn from us. This is the way it's done, right? So this veteran pitcher for the Reds, was shaking him off and wanted to throw, curveballs or wanted to throw his fastball, and Johnny Bench kept telling him, nope, I want a curveball or slider. I want something different. I don't want your fastball. So finally they had a little confrontation, and he's like, why are you shaking off? Why can't I throw a fastball? And Johnny Bench says, because it ain't popping. It's not a fastball. It's too slow. So the guy gets all mad. And he's like, fine, I'll throw me a fastball and I'll show you it's not popping. So Johnny Bench gets his glove up and the pitch comes in. Johnny Bench puts his glove down with his other hand, grabs the baseball with his bare hand. Like you have no heat. I can catch it with my bare hand. I don't even need a catcher's mitt to catch your baseball. And the funny thing about that story too is that I remember the book I read when I was in elementary school. It was about Johnny Bench. He's from Oklahoma originally, and I don't have any ties to Oklahoma, but I just was interested in him growing up as a kid. They have a photo of him. There's a historic photo of him holding up, I want to say, 8 baseballs, maybe 7, 8 baseballs in one hand, right? And like, how can you put a baseball in your hand and, you might be put 2 or 3 in there, but he had such huge hands. And I was watching him, playing some video clips recently because I'm like, what was it about him that I loved? And I was watching his style. He had such a quick release of the baseball. And, you guys would love some looking up these clips too. Remember back in the old days, how you were taught to just like wipe your glove up there. And even if you were close, the umpire was calling that runner out when he was trying to steal. And, watching some of those clips and flashbacks to those. But when they played him in slow motion, they would tag him out. The ball was so quick and he was so precise of where that ball was going. Today's game, you watch those, the ball leaves quickly from a catcher's hand, but sometimes they're making that tag up in, when the runner's running into the base, right? Because the balls can be all over and the players are so athletic now that they can like make those tags from anywhere. Johnny Bench was right on the bag almost every time. So, yeah, I think he's regarded as probably, if not the best catcher of all time, one of the best. I mean, he's up there in the like 1 or 2. He's got to be up there. All right, Zach, I guess the moment. Well, your thoughts about Johnny Bench. You never saw him play like I did.
Yeah, I never saw him play. I did see him throw out a first pitch in Oklahoma City. when me and Mom went to a minor league game, or maybe it was the Memphis game we all went to. I can't remember now. But yeah, I remember getting the cameo for you, and you just loving that. Johnny Bench has a 75 WAR. It's the number one. He has the highest WAR of any catcher of all time. So on paper, he's the best of all time.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, go check out the video if you haven't seen it. It's on our TikTok page and it's on our YouTube. We edited it with Dad's reaction, so go check that out after this episode.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just say I'm a little teary-eyed, so that's okay. It meant a lot to me. All right, Zach. Any thoughts from you? Because I can't wait to see who you're going to pick.
I have a guess.
Yeah, and I want to touch on Caden Bodine from Coastal after we talk about my guy. But so yeah, I pulled up the all-time career WAR leaders for the catching position. Johnny Bench was number one at 75. Mike Piazza is number 5 at 59.5 WAR. Number 3, Ivan Pudge Rodriguez at 68.7 WAR, just behind Gary Carter at 70 WAR at number 2. So I was just kind of looking up and down this list. Carlton Fisk, number 4, Yogi Berra, number 6, Joe Mauer, number 8. Some guys that I've seen play, number 16, Buster Posey, 18, Jorge Posada, 22, Yadier Molina, guys like that. But I just couldn't really find like a close connection to any of these guys to be, one of my favorites or anything like that. So I decided to cheat a little bit. And I'm going to go with Cal Raleigh.
What?
I'm going to go with Cal Raleigh, the current catcher for the Mariners, as potentially becoming one of the best catchers of all time. This guy is just having a breakout season. It's been incredible to watch. He was a big draft pick back in 2018, third round out of Florida State. And if you know Cal's story and Cal as a person, so he's a coach's kid. So his dad coached at Western Carolina and Cullowhee, North Carolina, and he was just at the field all the time. And he's just your perfect like baseball guy. And he kind of has that old school edge to him that you don't really see in baseball anymore, like as far as clubhouse and leadership goes. And him and Logan Gilbert just went on every step of the way together through the minor leagues. And he's been in the minor leagues catching all these guys, catching George Kirby, catching everybody. And he comes up and gets called up to the Mariners, and he has known all of these starting pitchers. Bryce Miller, Brian Wu, Luis Castillo. He's had these 5 guys for so many years in a row. He knows all of their tendencies, and he calls an incredible game. Everybody loves throwing to Cal. And he's a switch hitter. His thing was always, all right, he has power to the left side, but he isn't as good of a hitter on the right side. And then he came out this year like, okay, tell me what I can't do. And he's been absolutely raking from both sides of the plate. Right now, he leads major leagues with 27 home runs. He leads the major leagues in RBIs with 60 RBIs. And he was one of 7 players to receive over 1 million votes for the All-Star game when the first results came out just a few days ago. So the other 6 guys that received over 1 million votes, Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, Francisco Lindor, Freddie Freeman, Pete Crow Armstrong, and Will Smith. Those are the only 6 guys that received over 1 million with Cal Raleigh. So this year, he's getting the recognition that he hasn't had. It's always been Adley Rutschman leads the American League catching side. There's been, as early as the offseason of the year before, Cal Raleigh wasn't even a top 10 catcher for preseason. The Bleacher Report or whatever. People were going nuts. How is Cal Raleigh not a top 10 catcher? And now this year, he's so far beyond anyone. He's rivaling Aaron Judge for MVP if, something happens to Aaron Judge. So it's been incredible. Just a couple months ago, he signed that big contract extension for 6 years, $105 million. And he's become the franchise player. He's overtaken Julio Rodriguez. There's more Cal Raleigh fans now today. The Big Dumper is the nickname than there are Julio. He's coming up clutch. He's hitting crazy home runs. it's just been super impressive. He's already at 3.7 WAR this year. He finished last year with 4.7 WAR. He has a potential to put up a 6 WAR season, which would be unheard of for a catcher.
Ty, what do you think about his pick? He did cheat a little bit, but he makes a good point.
Yeah, at first I was thinking, what? Cal Raleigh, but after hearing how his season's going and all the stats, I mean, I could see it. I could see it.
Yeah, that's a good case for one of your favorite players on your favorite team, and I like it. Hey, you mentioned Zach that Cal is a switch hitter, and I believe Caden Bodine from Coastal Carolina, he's a junior this year. He's projected to go anywhere as high as 20 to maybe 30, some 20 to 40, somewhere there, I think, or maybe he's moving up higher. I don't know, but he's a switch hitter, and it's kind of fun to watch him play because he's an incredible hitter, and I think people are really noticing probably for the first time those that kind of just casually follows baseball.
Yeah, I think he's always been a really strong hitter, but over at Coastal Carolina, they kind of have a catching factory over there with head coach Kevin Schnall. Coach Schnall has been with Coastal forever with Gary Gilmore, and he's been the one leading these massive catching camps that people come in from all over the country just to go to Kevin Schnall's catching camp at Coastal. Um, so the catchers are always elite over at Coastal Carolina, and Hayden Bodine has really set himself apart across the country in the category of catching. I think he's the number 2 highest ranked catcher. Yeah, behind just Luke Stevenson from North Carolina. And MLB Pipeline has Caden Bodine ranked 38, but after showing what he's done in Omaha, I think he'll be drafted higher than the 38th overall pick. They just did a huge feature on him recently, showing kind of his routine and his work that he does, which is just normal to the Coastal catchers of what Coach Schnall puts them through. But Ty, I don't know if you saw that clip, but it's really interesting to me to see how framing has changed over the last 10 years. There was a clip of JT Realmuto from the Phillies that came out recently from his like early days in like 2015 with the Marlins. So catching framing, Ty, correct me if I'm wrong, but it always used to be like driving a car, like the steering wheel. So if it's over here, you catch around the ball, around it, above it, catch it
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
But now all catchers, they're starting from the ground up. So they have their glove almost on the ground. And when they're receiving the pitch, they catch it here and then they take it away. So you're giving the umpire less time for him to see where the ball was. Whereas 10 years ago, you're going to catch it, kind of put the fat part of the glove over the plate, hold it there, let the umpire see it. They're teaching the catchers now, don't let the umpire see it. Catch it right there where it was and let the umpire decide if it was a ball or a strike. They're saving way more strikes. They're getting way more calls than what they used to get.
Yeah, I've noticed that too just by watching games. I'm like, what? I was thinking like, what is the catcher doing with his glove down like that? I feel like if I was pitching, I'd hate that.
I noticed with Caden Bodine too, Zach, and some of his technique. I don't know who popularized the one leg. When you don't have runners on base and the leg kicks out, so you can get lower to the ground, right? It's going back to that
Right.
philosophy, staying low to the ground, keeping the glove down, and getting down as much as you can, and then coming up. So interesting. Well, good. All right. I know that Ty's got to get going here. Zach, you want to run down the World Series lineup for this weekend?
Yep, so it's Coastal against LSU. They play Saturday and Sunday. Monday is the if necessary game. You'll see you'll see LSU's ace, Cade Anderson, pitching Saturday night. And then the Michigan kid, Morrison, will start on Sunday for Coastal. And then they have the Coastal ace. Um, the name's escaping me. He'll go on Monday, but if things that's if necessary day, so they might bring him out of the bullpen Saturday or Sunday if things get dicey. So we'll see how it goes. Big matchup.
Yeah. Big matchup, and Coastal see if they can keep their win streak going, right? Impressive. 26 in a row. Is that right, Zach?
That's right. Yeah.
All right, Ty, can you, if you're still around, can you give everyone, an idea where they can find the podcast if they want to find us down the road?
Yeah, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Big League Dreaming the Podcast. We're also on TikTok at Big League Dreaming. Follow us on X at BLD Pod. That's at BLD POD. And of course, wherever you get your podcast at, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're dropping up episodes on Saturdays, so we hope to see you on the next one.
All right, take care, everyone.
Yep.